The palace of Philora Prime touched the clouds. It was made of crystal that changed color with the sun. Blue in the morning, gold at noon, purple when the stars came out. People said it was the most beautiful building in 17 star systems. But no one came to see the palace. They came to see the king. Lord Taiho had ruled the Philoran Empire for 300 years. His people were cat-like beings with fur of silver, gold, or black. They walked on two legs like humans. They had sharp claws and sharper minds. And Lord Taiho was the oldest and most powerful of them all. His fur was silver like moonlight. His eyes were amber like honey. He was tall and moved without sound. When he spoke, even the wind seemed to stop and listen. He had won wars that lasted decades. He had built an empire from nothing. He had watched stars die and new ones be born. But he had not smiled in 300 years. The story was famous across the galaxy. Long ago, Lord Taiho made a promise. Whoever could make him truly smile would receive one wish. Any wish, the empire would grant it, no matter the cost. Want a planet? It was yours. Want an army? Done. Want to live forever? The Philoran doctors would try their best. But there was a catch. It had to be a real smile. Not a polite one. Not a fake one. Lord Taiho had to feel genuine happiness, even for just a moment. His advisors would know. His people would know. Felorans could smell emotions the way humans smelled flowers. So the warriors came. They came from every corner of the galaxy. They came in ships of metal and ships of light. They came alone and they came in groups. Each one believed that they would be the one to succeed. The Valkyries sent their greatest bladesman. His name was spoken with fear on 100 worlds. He performed a sword dance in front of the throne, his blade moving so fast it became invisible. He cut a falling feather into 12 perfect pieces. The court gasped. Lord Taiho watched with empty eyes. "You are skilled," the king said. "But skill does not bring joy. I have seen better warriors die in my arms." Next, the Gorvak sent their undefeated champion. He was 3 meters tall with skin like stone. He crushed a boulder with his bare hands. He lifted a transport ship over his head. He roared so loud the windows cracked. "You are strong," Lord Taiho said. "But strength does not bring joy. I have destroyed worlds with a single command. There is no happiness in power." Next, the Syndicate of Myra sent a different kind of champion. She was beautiful and clever. She told jokes that made the entire court laugh. She performed magic tricks that fooled even the royal scientists. She whispered secrets about distant kingdoms and scandalous love affairs. Lord Taiho's face did not change. "You are entertaining," he said. "But entertainment is not joy. I have heard every joke. I have seen every trick. You cannot surprise me." Next, day after day, they came. Week after week. Month after month. For 300 years, the warriors had tried. Some tried to make him laugh. Some tried to make him proud. Some tried to scare him into smiling. One fool even tried to tickle him. The guards removed that one quickly. None of them succeeded. The advisors worried. Lady Yunji, the king's most trusted advisor, watched her lord with sad eyes. She remembered when he used to smile. It was before her time, but there were paintings. In those old pictures, Lord Taiho looked like a different person. His eyes had light in them. His face had warmth. Now he was like a statue, beautiful but cold. Perhaps the wish should be cancelled, Lady Yunji suggested one evening. It brings nothing but disappointment. No, Lord Taiho said. The wish stays. If someone can remind me what joy feels like, they deserve any reward. And if no one ever succeeds, the king looked out the window at the stars. Then perhaps joy is not meant for me anymore. Far below the crystal towers, past the golden gates and marble courtyards, there were the royal stables. They were nice enough, with clean floors and warm lights. But no one important ever visited them. They were just stables, after all. This is where Do-hwan lived. He was 17 years old, small for his age, with messy black hair and quick hands. He was human, which was rare on Flora Prime. Humans were new to the galaxy. They had only discovered space travel 50 years ago. Most species still thought of them as children playing with dangerous toys. Do-hwan did not care about galactic politics. He cared about the animals. The royal stables housed Aaron, the traditional mounts of Floran nobility. They were magnificent creatures, as big as elephants, with 6 legs and scales that shimmered like oil on water. They could run faster than ground vehicles and were smarter than most computers. Each one was worth more than a starship. Do-hwan loved them all, but he loved one most of all. Her name was Bile. It meant star in the old Korean language that Do-hwan's grandmother had taught him. Bile was old, very old. Her scales had lost their shine. Her eyes were cloudy. She lived in stall 7, away from the others, because she moved too slowly to keep up. The stable master said she would die soon. Maybe in a month. Maybe in a week. He said it like he was talking about a broken machine that needed to be thrown away. Do-hwan did not see a broken machine. He saw a tired grandmother who needed someone to sit with her. So every night, after his work was done, he would go to stall 7. He would brush Bile's faded scales. He would bring her favorite food, soft fruits that she could still chew. And he would sing to her. The songs were old. His grandmother had sung them to him when he was small, back on the colony ship, before the crash that took everything. They were simple songs about the moon and the stars and going to sleep safely. Bile would close her cloudy eyes and make a sound like purring. Her great body would relax. For a few moments, she did not seem to be in pain. Do-hwan did not know that Bile had once belonged to a queen. He did not know that Lord Taiho had not visited her in 6 months because it hurt too much to see her dying. He did not know about the king's test or the legendary wish. He only knew that a creature was suffering, and he could help a little. That was enough for him. Above, in the Crystal Palace, another warrior failed the test. Lord Taiho waved his hand, and the guards led the disappointed champion away. Below, in the quiet stable, Do-hwan sang a lullaby to an old Aaron who had been forgotten by everyone except him. Neither of them knew that their paths would soon cross. Neither of them knew that the galaxy was about to change. But the stars knew. And they watched. And they waited. The throne room was full of people. Nobles in silk robes stood along the walls. Guards in golden armor watched every door. Servants moved like shadows, carrying drinks and food. Everyone was waiting. Everyone was watching. General Vok of the Gorvak stood in the center of the room. He was huge. His shoulders were wider than 2 men standing together. His skin was gray like stone and just as hard. His eyes were small and red, like drops of blood in a mountain. He had won 47 wars. He had never lost a single battle. Today, he would make the Cat King smile. "Great Lord Taiho," General Vok said, his voice deep as thunder. "I have conquered worlds for you to see. I have brought you the skulls of your enemies. I have done what no warrior before me has done." Lord Taiho sat on his throne. His silver fur did not move. His amber eyes did not blink. "Show me," he said. General Vok began his display. First, he lifted a block of pure iron that weighed as much as a small ship. He held it over his head with one hand. The crowd gasped. He threw it into the air and punched it. The metal broke into 1,000 pieces that scattered across the floor like rain dot. Then he called for his weapons. Servants brought out blades of every size. General Vok threw them into the air and juggled them. 12 swords spinning around him in a deadly dance. Not one touched his skin. Not one fell to the ground. Finally, he told his stories. He spoke of the Battle of Red Moons, where he had killed 3,000 enemies in a single night. He spoke of the Siege of Iron Gates, where he had held a bridge alone for 7 days. His voice grew loud. His arms waved. His eyes burned with the memory of glory. The crowd was impressed. Some nobles clapped. Some guards nodded with respect. Lord Taio's face did not change. "You are powerful," the king said when the general finished. "But power is not joy. I have seen armies burn. I have watched cities fall. Every skull you show me was once a person with hopes and dreams. There is no happiness in destruction, General. Only emptiness." General Vox's face turned red. He opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. What could he say? The king was right. The general bowed and walked away. His footsteps were heavy with shame. The next day, Lady Myray came. She was a Floran noble, born in the palace itself. Her fur was black as night, and her eyes were green as emeralds. She moved like water. She spoke like music. She was the most beautiful woman in the empire, and the most clever. "My king," she said with a graceful bow, "I do not bring you power or blood. I bring you beauty and wit." Lord Taio tilted his head slightly. This was different. Lady Myray began to dance. It was an old Floran dance from before the empire existed. Her body moved in patterns that told stories. Stories of love and loss. Stories of spring and winter. Stories of hope and despair. The dance lasted for 1 hour, and when it ended, the court was silent. Some nobles had tears in their eyes. Then she recited poetry. Ancient words in the old language. Her voice rose and fell like waves on a beach. The poem spoke of the king's great deeds, but also of small moments. A flower blooming. A child laughing. A sunset over quiet mountains. Finally, she told jokes. Not crude ones, but clever ones. Jokes about court politics that made nobles blush. Jokes about philosophy that made scholars think. Jokes about the absurdity of life that made everyone pause. Lord Taio listened to everything. He watched every movement. He heard every word. His face remained still as stone. "You are talented," he said. "Your dance was beautiful. Your poetry was skilled. Your humor was sharp. But I see calculation in your eyes, Lady Myray. You have practiced every gesture. You have planned every word. There is no truth in your performance, only strategy." Lady Myray's smile faded. She had spent 10 years preparing for this moment. 10 years wasted. She bowed and left the throne room without another word. A week later, Commander Yuna arrived. She was human, from the Human Alliance. She was the highest-ranking human in the galactic military. Her ship had traveled 3 months to reach Flora Prime. She had studied everything about Lord Taio. She had a plan. "Your Majesty," she said with a sharp salute. "Humans are new to the galaxy, but we are known for one thing above all else. We are funny." Lord Taio's ear twitched, just slightly. "Funny? Yes, sir. Humor is our specialty. We have made it into an art form." Commander Yuna had brought recordings of the greatest human comedians. She showed them on a large screen. Men and women making jokes about their lives, their families, their problems. Some jokes were clever. Some were silly. Some were so strange that even Yuna did not understand them. The court laughed. Even the guards smiled behind their helmets. Lord Taio watched. He did not laugh. He did not smile. Then Commander Yuna tried something desperate. She put on a costume and performed physical comedy. She slipped on invisible objects. She made silly faces. She spoke in funny voices. She did everything her research said would make a person laugh. Lord Taio raised one hand. The performance stopped. "Commander," he said. Your species tries very hard to be liked. It is exhausting to watch. Humor that is forced is not humor. It is desperation wearing a mask. You do not make me want to laugh. You make me want to sleep. Commander Yuna's face turned red. She had failed. The human alliance had failed. She saluted again and marched out of the throne room. She did not look back. That night, Lady Yunji found the king standing alone on his balcony. The stars were bright. The wind was cold. 3 more failures today, she said softly. Will anyone ever succeed? Lord Taiho did not answer for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was tired. They all try to give me what they think I want. Power, beauty, laughter. But they do not ask what I have lost. They do not see the hole inside me. They see a challenge to be conquered. A prize to be won. Not a person to be understood. Lady Yunji did not know what to say, so she stood beside him in silence. Far below, in the warm stables, Da Huan was brushing Bile's scales. The old Aaron was having a bad night. Her breathing was rough. Her body was tense with pain. Da Huan did not have medicine. He did not have magic. He only had his voice. So he sang. The same old lullaby his grandmother had taught him. Simple words about the moon watching over sleeping children, about being safe in the dark, about tomorrow being a new day. Bile's breathing slowly calmed. Her eyes closed. Her body relaxed. Du Huan did not know he was doing something that all the warriors and nobles and commanders could not do. He did not know that his simple act of kindness was worth more than all the gold in the palace. He was just a stable boy, singing to a dying creature who had no one else above. The king stared at the stars and felt nothing. Below, the boy held Aaron's head in his lap and felt everything. The universe has a strange sense of humor. It was about to bring them together. The morning started like any other. Da Huan woke up before the sun. He washed his face with cold water and put on his simple work clothes. Brown pants, a gray shirt, boots that were too big for his feet. He ate a small breakfast of bread and dried fruit, then walked to the stables. The Aaron greeted him with low rumbles. They knew his footsteps. They knew his smell. Some of them pushed their great heads against the bars of their stalls, wanting attention. Da Huan smiled and patted each one as he passed. But he went to stall 7 first. He always did. Bile was awake. Her cloudy eyes found him in the dim light. She made a soft sound like a question. Good morning, grandmother, Da Huan said. He had started calling her that a few months ago. It felt right. How are you feeling today? Bile made another sound. Not good, it seemed to say. Not good at all. Da Huan spent an hour with her before starting his other duties. He brushed her scales gently. He brought her water and soft fruit. He sang to her quietly while the other stable workers arrived and started their own tasks. No one bothered Da Huan about stall 7. The stable master had given up. The old Aaron would die soon, anyway. Let the strange human boy waste his time. Meanwhile, in the palace above, something unusual was happening. A new challenger had arrived for the king's test. His name was Lord Kang, a forlorn warlord from the outer systems. He was not polite like the other nobles. He was not careful. He was loud and proud and absolutely certain that he would succeed. I have brought the king a gift, Lord Kang announced to the court. The finest Aaron in all the galaxy. A beast so magnificent that even the great Lord Taiho will smile when he sees it. The court murmured. A Aaron? That was unusual. Most challengers brought jewelry or weapons or performances. Not animals. Lord Kang had brought his Aaron to the palace gates. It was indeed magnificent. Young and strong, with scales that shimmered blue and gold. Its 6 legs were thick with muscle. Its eyes were bright and proud. But the creature was not happy. It had been transported across 3 star systems in a small cage. It had been poked and prodded by handlers who did not understand it. It had been kept awake for days to keep it alert for the presentation. The Aaron was scared, and a scared Aaron was a dangerous thing. Lord Kang did not see the danger. He saw only his prize. The servants opened the gate to bring the Aaron into the palace. Trumpets played. Nobles gathered to watch. Lord Kang walked proudly beside his gift. Then a guard's spear caught the light. The metal flashed. The Aaron screamed. It was a terrible sound, like thunder and breaking glass. The creature reared up on its back legs. Its front legs struck the air. Its eyes rolled with terror. Then it ran. It crashed through the guards like they were made of paper. It knocked over servants and nobles. It charged through the courtyard, destroying everything in its path. Statues fell. Fountains broke. People screamed and ran in all directions. "Stop it!" Lord Kang shouted. Someone stop it. But no one could. The Aaron was too big, too fast, too scared. It ran toward the only open space it could see. The great doors of the palace. The throne room. Lord Taiho stood from his throne. His guards drew their weapons. Lady Yunji shouted for reinforcements. The Aaron burst through the doors. Its hooves cracked the marble floor. Its screams echoed off the crystal walls. It was going to destroy everything. It was going to hurt someone. It was going to die, shot down by the guards' weapons. And then a voice cut through the chaos. 3 sharp clicks. A sound like stones tapping together. The Aaron stopped. Its great head turned. Its wild eyes found the source of the sound. A small figure stood in a side doorway. A young human with messy black hair. A stable boy with dirt on his clothes. Dohan had been carrying feed to the lower kitchens when he heard the screams. He had run toward the sound without thinking. When he saw the Aaron, he did not see a monster. He saw a frightened animal. Like Bile when she had nightmares. Like the young Aaron who cried for their mothers at night. He clicked his tongue again. 3 times. Slowly. Calmly. The Aaron made a sound. A question. Dohan held out his hand. Empty. No weapon. No threat. He walked forward slowly. 1 step. 2 steps. His eyes never left the creature. "It is okay," he said softly. "No one will hurt you. You are safe. You are safe." The Aaron's breathing slowed. Its legs stopped shaking. It lowered its great head toward the strange small creature that smelled like stables and spoke like a friend. Dohan touched its nose, gently, softly, like touching a soap bubble. The Aaron closed its eyes and leaned into his hand. The throne room was silent. Every noble, every guard, every servant stared at the impossible scene. A human stable boy had stopped a rampaging beast with nothing but sounds and soft words. Lord Taiho had not moved, but his eyes had changed. For the first time in many years, there was something in them besides emptiness, curiosity. "Lady Yunji," he said quietly. His advisor appeared at his side. "Yes, my lord?" The human. "Who is he here?" Lady Yunji looked at the boy who was now gently leading the calmed Aaron away from the broken doors. She recognized him from the staff records. "His name is Dowan, my lord. He is a stable boy. He was a refugee from a crashed colony ship. We gave him work 2 years ago." "A stable boy," Lord Taiho repeated. He watched Dohan disappear through the side door, the great Aaron following him like a lost child following its mother. How did he know what to do? "I do not know, my lord. Perhaps he is simply good with animals." Lord Taiho sat back on his throne. Lord Kang was apologizing loudly for the disaster. Servants were cleaning up the damage. Guards were checking for injuries. The chaos continued all around. But the king was not watching any of it. He was thinking about a small human boy who had walked toward danger instead of away from it, who had seen fear instead of threat, who had offered kindness instead of violence. "Lady Yunji," Lord Taiho said. "Yes, my lord?" "Bring the stable boy to me tomorrow. He will take the test." Lady Yunji blinked. "My lord? He is just a servant. He did not ask to—" "I am not asking." Lord Taiho's voice was soft but firm. "Bring him to me." Lady Yunji bowed. "Yes, my lord." That night, Dohwan was eating his small dinner when the royal guards came to his room. They told him he was summoned to the throne room tomorrow morning. He would spend the day with the king. He would take the famous test. Dohwan dropped his bread. His face went pale. "There must be a mistake," he said. "I am just a stable boy. I cannot make a king smile. I do not know how to do anything except take care of animals." The guards did not care. Orders were orders. Dohwan did not sleep that night. He sat in stall 7 with bile, his hands shaking, his heart racing. "What do I do?" he whispered to the old Aaron. "I am nobody. I have nothing. How can I make the most powerful person in the galaxy smile?" Bile made a soft sound. She pushed her head against his shoulder. Dohwan did not understand her language. But somehow, the message was clear. Just be yourself. It is enough. It has always been enough. Dohwan was not sure he believed that, but he had no other choice. Tomorrow, he would meet the king. The throne room felt bigger than the entire stable. Dohwan stood in the center of the marble floor, his worn boots making small dirty marks on the polished stone. He had tried to clean himself up. He had washed his hair and borrowed a better shirt from another worker. But he still looked like exactly what he was. A poor boy who worked with animals. Lord Taiho sat on his throne, high above everything. His silver fur seemed to glow in the morning light. His amber eyes looked down at Dohwan like a cat watching a mouse. But there was no hunger in those eyes. Only tiredness. Only emptiness. The nobles watched from the sides of the room. They whispered to each other behind their hands. What was this? A stable boy taking the king's test? It was a joke. It had to be a joke. Lady Yunji stood beside the throne. Her face showed nothing, but her eyes were kind. "You may begin," Lord Taiho said. His voice echoed in the great room. Dohwan's throat was dry. His hands were shaking. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Well, the king's voice was not angry. Just flat. Just empty. "You are here to make me smile. What is your plan? Will you juggle? Tell jokes? Show me some amazing skill?" Dohwan shook his head. His voice was barely a whisper. "I do not know how to do any of those things, Your Majesty." A noble laughed. Others joined in. The stable boy did not even have a plan. This was a waste of time. But Lord Taiho raised his hand. The laughter stopped. "No tricks?" the king asked. "No performances? No grand gestures?" "No, sir." Dohwan looked at his feet. "I'm sorry. I just clean stables. I take care of animals. I am not interesting. I do not know why you called me here." For a moment, the throne room was silent. The nobles waited for the king to send this fool away. Instead, Lord Taiho leaned forward. Just slightly. "Then what will you do with your day?" Dohwan thought about it. He thought about all the things he could not do. He could not fight. He could not dance. He could not tell clever jokes. He had nothing to offer a king. But then he thought about Bile. He hesitated. "There is an old Aaron in stall 7. Her name is Bile. She is dying. The doctors say there is nothing to do. But I do not want her to be alone. I would like to be with her today. If that is allowed, the nobles murmured. What kind of answer was that? The boy was wasting his chance. He could ask for anything, and he wanted to sit with a dying animal? But Lord Taiho's reaction was different. His whole body changed. His ears, which had been flat, moved forward. His tail, which had been still, twitched once. Something flickered in his amber eyes. Something that had not been there before. "Bile," the king said. The word came out strange, like it hurt to say. "Yes, sir. She is in stall 7. She has been there for a long time. I do not think anyone visits her except me." Lord Taiho stood. The movement was so sudden that guards reached for their weapons. But the king was not angry. He was not threatening. He was something else entirely. "Take me to her," he said. The walk to the stables was silent. Lord Taiho followed Dowan through hallways and gardens, downstairs and across courtyards. Servants stopped and stared. Guards rushed to keep up. No one understood what was happening. The king had not left the palace in 6 months. Now he was walking to the stables like a man in a dream. Dowan led him to stall 7. The door was old wood, worn smooth by many hands. Inside, Bile lay on a bed of soft hay. Her scales were dull. Her breathing was slow. She looked up when the door opened. Then she saw Lord Taiho. A sound came from her throat. Not a scream. Not a question. A greeting. A name. She knew him. Lord Taiho stopped at the entrance of the stall. His hands, which had commanded armies and signed death orders, were trembling. "Hello, old friend," he said softly. Dowan looked between them. "You know her?" "She was my mother's mount." The king's voice was different now, smaller, more human somehow. "My mother rode her in the Great War. When my mother died, Bile came to me. But he stopped, swallowed. I have not visited her in 6 months. It was too hard. Seeing her fade away, knowing I could not stop it." Dowan understood. He had felt the same way when his grandmother was dying. The same urge to run away. The same shame when he did not. "She missed you," Dowan said. "I could tell. She would look at the door sometimes, waiting." Lord Taiho closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were wet. The king of 17 star systems, the warrior who had not shown emotion in 300 years, walked into the stall and knelt beside his mother's Aaron. His fine robes touched the dirty hay. He did not care. Bile made a sound of pure happiness. She pressed her great head against his chest. Her cloudy eyes closed. Dowan watched from the doorway. He felt like he was seeing something private, something sacred. He started to back away. "Stay," Lord Taiho said. It was not a command. It was a request. "Please, show me how you care for her." So Dowan showed him. He showed the king how to brush her scales gently, following the direction they grew. He showed him which fruits she could still eat. He showed him the spot behind her third ear that made her purr like a kitten. Lord Taiho listened to everything. He copied Dowan's movements carefully. His hands, so strong and powerful, became gentle as feathers. "How did you know all this?" the king asked. "I watched her," Dowan said simply. "I paid attention. Animals tell you what they need. You just have to listen." They stayed with Bile for hours. The sun moved across the sky. Servants came with food, but neither of them ate much. Guards stood at a distance, confused and worried. As the afternoon light turned golden, Bile's breathing became rough. Her body tensed with pain. Her eyes, which had been peaceful, showed fear. Lord Taiho's face twisted. "Is there nothing we can do?" Dowan shook his head. The doctor said no, but he hesitated. "But what?" "I sing to her. When the pain is bad, it seems to help." I do not know why. The king looked at him. Sing. Do-hwan felt his face grow hot. It is just a silly old song. My grandmother taught me. It is in my old language. You will not understand the words. Sing anyway. So Do-hwan sang. It was the same lullaby he always sang. Simple words about the moon watching over sleeping children. About being safe even when the night was dark. About tomorrow being a new day full of hope. His voice was not beautiful. It cracked in places. It wobbled in others. But it was honest. It was real. Bile's breathing slowed. Her body relaxed. Her eyes closed peacefully. Lord Taiho watched Do-hwan's face as he sang. He saw no performance, no calculation, no strategy. He saw only a boy who had lost everything, singing a song about hope. The king's hand, which had been resting on Bile's neck, moved to touch his own chest, where his heart was, where something he had forgotten was starting to wake up. What do the words mean? He asked when the song ended. Do-hwan translated as best he could. The moon is watching. The stars are guarding. Sleep now, little one. Tomorrow the sun will rise. Tomorrow we will be together. Do not be afraid of the dark. I am here. I will always be here. Lord Taiho was quiet for a long time. Your grandmother, he said finally. Is she? She died. When our ship crashed, she held me in her arms during the landing. She protected me with her body. Do-hwan's voice did not shake, but his eyes were wet. I was the only one who survived. I am sorry. It was 2 years ago. The pain is less now, but I still miss her. I will always miss her. The king nodded slowly. I understand. My mother died 400 years ago. The pain is less now, but I still miss her. I will always miss her. They sat in silence as the sun set. Two people from different worlds. One old, one young. One powerful, one powerless. But in that moment, in that small stable, they were the same. Just two hearts that had learned what it meant to lose someone they loved. Bile slept peacefully between them, not knowing that she had brought together two broken souls. They stayed with Bale through the night. Lady Yoonji came once to check on the king. She found him sitting in the hay, his royal robes dirty, his silver fur covered with dust. Beside him sat a human stable boy, singing quietly in a language she did not understand. Between them lay an old Aaron, sleeping peacefully for the first time in months. Lady Yoonji had served Lord Taiho for 150 years. She had never seen him like this. She bowed and left without a word. The night was long. Do-hwan told stories about his life on the colony ship, about his grandmother, who could cook the best noodles in the galaxy, about his father, who played guitar and made everyone laugh, about his mother, who read him stories every night before bed. They all died in the crash. Lord Taiho asked. Everyone died. 300 people. I was the only one who walked away. Do-hwan stroked Bile's neck. For a long time, I wished I had died too. It did not seem fair that I survived when everyone else did not. What changed? Do-hwan thought about it. I found Bile. She was so sad and so alone. No one cared about her. She was just waiting to die. And I thought, maybe that is why I survived. Not for myself, but to help others who are suffering, to make their pain a little less. Lord Taiho was silent. His amber eyes stared at something far away. My mother told me something similar, he said finally, before she died. She said that power is not about conquering. It is about protecting, not about taking, about giving. I promised her I would remember, but somewhere along the way, I forgot. Maybe it is not too late to remember. The king looked at the stable boy. So young, so small, so full of hope despite everything he had lost. "Perhaps you were right," Lord Taiho said quietly. As dawn approached, Miles' breathing changed. It became slower, lighter, like she was getting ready to float away. Dawan knew what was coming. He had seen death before. On the colony ship. In the stables. It always looked the same at the end. A letting go. A release. "She is leaving," he whispered. Lord Taiho's hand tightened on Miles' fur. "Not yet. Please, not yet." But death does not listen to kings. Byel opened her cloudy eyes one last time. She looked at Lord Taiho, then at Dohwan. She made a soft sound. A goodbye. A thank you. Then she closed her eyes and did not open them again. The stable was silent. The first light of dawn came through the windows, painting everything gold. Dohwan felt tears running down his face. He did not try to stop them. He had loved Bile, not for long, but truly. And now she was gone. He looked at Lord Taiho, expecting to see the same emptiness that was always in the king's eyes. Instead, he saw tears. The Cat King, the ruler of 17 star systems, the warrior who had not shown emotion in 300 years, was crying. Silent tears running down his silver fur, disappearing into the hay. "She waited for me," Lord Taiho said, his voice breaking. 6 months I stayed away, because I was afraid of this moment. And she waited. "She loved you," Dohwan said. "She wanted to see you one more time. I do not deserve such love. Love is not about deserving. It just is, like the sun, like the stars. It does not ask permission. It does not keep score." Lord Taiho looked at the human boy. This child who had lost everything and still had enough love to give to dying animals. This nobody who had walked into a king's life and shown him what he had forgotten. And something broke inside Lord Taiho. Something that had been frozen for 300 years. A wall of ice around his heart, though to protect him from the pain of losing his mother. The pain of watching friends die in war. The pain of being alone even when surrounded by millions. The wall cracked. And then it shattered. "You weep for her," Lord Taiho said. "For a creature that was not yours. That you knew for only a few months." Dohwan wiped his eyes. She was still someone. She still mattered. Every life matters. Every death deserves tears. And Lord Taiho, the unsmiling king, the ancient ruler who had forgotten what joy felt like, smiled. It was not a big smile. Not a laugh. Just a small movement of his lips. A tiny light in his amber eyes. But it was real. It was true. It was the first real smile in 300 years. "You did not try to make me smile," the king said. "You simply cared. Without expecting anything. Without wanting anything. You showed me what I had forgotten. What is that?" Lord Taiho looked down at Bile's peaceful face. "That grief and love are the same thing. That we cry because we cared. That tears are not weakness. They are proof that we are alive. That we can still feel. That we have not become empty." The smile stayed on his face. Small but steady. Like a candle in darkness. Words spread quickly through the palace. The stable boy had done the impossible. The king had smiled. The 300-year test was over. Nobles were shocked. Warriors were angry. Politicians demanded explanations. How could a simple stable boy succeed where the greatest champions had failed? Lord Taiho called a gathering in the throne room. The entire court attended. Dohwan stood beside the throne, still wearing his dirty clothes, still smelling of the stables. "For 300 years, the king announced, warriors and nobles and champions have tried to make me smile. They brought me power. They brought me beauty. They brought me clever tricks. They all failed. Do you know why?" The court was silent, because they were trying to take from me, to win a prize, to gain my favor. They did not care about me. They cared about what I could give them. Lord Taiho looked at Dowan. This boy did not try to win anything. He did not care about the test. He only wanted to comfort a dying creature. He showed me kindness that expected nothing in return. He reminded me what it means to be alive. The king turned to Dowan. You have won the test. You may have any wish within my power to grant. What do you want? A planet? An army? Riches beyond imagination? The court held its breath. What would this stable boy ask for? Dawan thought for a long moment. He thought about his grandmother, about the colony ship, about all the people who had died. He thought about what they would want him to do. I want a proper burial for Bile, he said, in the gardens where your mother used to walk, so they can be together. The court gasped. That was it? He could have anything, and he asked for a funeral for an animal. Lord Taiho's smile grew wider. Granted. What else? Nothing else, Your Majesty. I do not need anything else. But Lord Taiho shook his head. You may not need it, but I want to give it. Stay in the palace, Dowan. Not as a servant. As my companion. I have advisors and guards and nobles around me every day, but I have not had a friend in 300 years. Would you be my friend? Dowan's eyes went wide. Me? A friend to a king? Yes, you can still work in the stables if you want. You can still care for the animals. But when you have time, come and talk to me. Sing me your grandmother's songs. Tell me about your family. Remind me how to feel. Dowan did not know what to say. He had come to the palace with nothing. He had expected nothing. And now he was being offered something beyond his wildest dreams. Not wealth. Not power. Just friendship. Yes, he said. I would like that very much. And so it was done. The galaxy was confused. News reports struggled to explain how a stable boy had won the legendary test. Some called it luck. Some called it magic. Some called it a lie. But those who understood saw the truth. The strongest warriors in the galaxy had failed because they saw only a challenge. The cleverest nobles had failed because they saw only a prize. Dowan had succeeded because he saw only a person. A lonely, hurting person who needed someone to care. In the gardens where Lord Taiho's mother used to walk, they buried Bile beneath a tree with silver leaves. Dowan sang his grandmother's lullaby one last time. The king stood beside him, tears on his face, a smile on his lips. Thank you, Lord Taiho said. For everything. Dowan smiled back. Thank you for letting me help. And in that moment, two broken souls found what they had been missing all along. Not power. Not glory. Just someone who cared. Just someone who stayed. The galaxy would continue to turn. Wars would be fought. Empires would rise and fall. But in the Crystal Palace on Philora Prime, something had changed forever. A king had learned to smile again, and a stable boy had learned that the smallest hearts can hold the greatest warmth. Sometimes. That is all we need. Just someone to sit with us in the dark, to sing us songs, to remind us that we are not alone, that we matter, that we are loved. The end.